Hi everyone, it's Clinton from Home Drafting and Design. I am here on site at 110 Crawforth talking about the first accessory structure, accessory dwelling unit being permitted here in Whitby. So I'm going to take some time today meeting with Saman Habibi and we're going to talk about all the details of this project. Thank you for joining us again today, Saman.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're going to be talking about an accessory dwelling unit going in the backyard. I know, Saman, you had some questions for me, so we're going to kick it.
Absolutely. So, Clinton, thanks for inviting me here. And this is exciting because this is, in fact, the first one in Whitby, which is exciting because you're setting all the precedent in terms of what people can expect. You've gone through the system with the city. Why don't we just talk about the property? So we're here in Whitby.
Yes.
We are in front of a detached bungalow.
Yes.
That's sitting on a 60 by 140 foot, 142 feet lot.
Yes.
Sorry, 51 by 164.
Mm-hmm.
So from a lot size perspective, because I find when I talk to people, people are saying, I have a bungalow. How do I know if my lot qualifies to add a garden suite or an additional dwelling unit in the back? So how do we go around that question?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of different lot sizes we can make this work. And again, it's going to depend solely on the size of the lot, the shape of the lot. I mean, we have a very regular shaped lot here where it's just rectangular. Obviously, if you've got something that's a little bit more of an irregular shaped lot, you know, there's a little bit more involved in it. But for something like this, for the size of structure that we're trying to build back there, which is essentially just under 850 square feet, this is an ideal size lot. It gives us enough room for our parking. It gives us enough clearance for the structure to go back there and still be off of our lot lines and not get into too much issues with OBC or variances.
In this scenario, we currently have, what looks like definitely one laneway, but maybe even another half. So
yes.
What's the parking situation here and how are you going to be achieving parking?
So that's a great question. So for this type of situation, we really lucked out. We already have enough space between the existing structure and the lot line that we have over our 18-foot 2 that we need to be able to get our parking side by side. Originally, this structure already had a single-family dwelling upstairs, and it has an accessory unit in the basement. So it already was utilizing 3 parking spaces. So what we're going to do is we're just extending that driveway all the way back. Okay. It's going to involve putting in a retaining wall down the side because there is quite a drop off the side here. But by doing that, we're going to have it all the way back towards that new structure, which is essentially is giving us 12 parking spaces.
Wow.
So with this type of situation, we've already discussed it, the owner and myself. For the ease of her clients, it's probably going to make the most sense to actually have everybody park down one side, probably marking the parking down one side. And by doing this, we'll have an entirely free laneway where everyone will be able to get past, because that's the biggest logistic issue when we get into doing these accessory dwelling units. Yep. Once you get over 3 parking spaces, where does everybody go and how does everybody get out? As you know, one of the other projects I've worked on, you see one of our other videos about 36 Simpson.
Yes.
We actually put the parking in the rear. So all the parking went to that space because we didn't have the laneway out front to do it. But with this one, because we've got so much width to the side, it's going to work out great where all that parking can go down the one lane.
There are 3 ways to achieve parking. One is the traditional side-by-side, just if you can fit it, great. The other one is what you're doing here, a straight laneway to the back of the property. And the third one would be having a laneway to the back of the property and then parking cars side by side in between the 2 structures. That's how you would essentially
yeah. So the conventional way we've always seen with accessory units in the basement is usually 2 up and 1 to the side. And that's conventionally what Oshawa's always wanted to see. Clarington's been a bit of an exception. They'll allow you to go all in one line, but again, logistically, absolute nightmare to try and get all your tenants past all that. But what do we do in a situation where you're adding that additional parking spot? You want to have 4 parking spots. Now I know with a lot of these ADUs, a lot of municipalities, and even C23 is allowing us to get down to 3 parking spaces for 3 units.
Yeah.
But places like Oshawa, for example, we just went through this with a project we've been talking about there. They actually want to see 4 parking spaces for 3 units. So 2 for the primary and then 1 for each one. So in a situation like that where you're restricted to have those 4 parking spaces, you can't just have 3 out front and 1 behind it because usually you don't have the width of the property. If you're going to maintain your 50% and you're also going to have a wide enough curb cut, from Ontario legislation perspective, you can't get wide enough to make that work. So everything's got to start moving towards the back.
Okay.
This situation, definitely ideal for this, where we can put everybody down the side. But again, For most of the accessory dwelling units we've done in the back, we've switched it where the parking is actually now located in the back, which means having a laneway big enough for that to work, as well as all the parking.
Okay, good stuff. And I see that you have staked here a yellow sign.
Yes.
So tell us about the yellow sign and what that is.
So for a situation like what we had here in Whitby, we didn't have an accessory dwelling unit bylaw in place, the same as what Clarington has done or Peterborough has done. What they do is they actually utilize their existing bylaw for accessory structures. So in that case, we were limited to the size of structure we could build based on the lesser of either 8% of the lot, 50% of the existing structure, or up to 60 square meters. Now, the structure we're building is 59.98, so we managed to meet that criteria. 8%, we're at 7.95, I think. We just came in underneath that. But the issue that we had was the existing structure was going to limit us to basically about 600 square feet for the structure. So we ended up going for a variance, and in doing so we actually found out that because of the shape of the roof that we want to create, we're going to need a variance for that as well too, as well as the fact that we had some windows fairly close to a property line. So because of all that, we ended up going for a minor variance, and I gotta say, I've had a really good track record with minor variances. I've not had an issue with ever getting one passed, but this one was actually probably one of the easier ones, in spite of the fact that some of the neighbors were not really keen on the fact that we were doing this type of development.
Got it.
Well, that's our time here at 110 Crawforth for today. I hope you enjoyed our video today. If you did, make sure that you like and subscribe. We will be showing some more progressions of this project as it comes along, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Take care.